Hi, thank you. My name is Kim Keener, and I'm going to actually start out. I'm going to bring up first Krissy McAfee. She has kind of what I call blazed the trail for us parents. I happen to be one of them. I happen to be one of the parents. A local business owner for 15 years in Canyon Country, who has lost a child to the heroin, what we feel is heroin epidemic. And maybe this could be a state issue too, but right now it's a Santa Clarita issue. And so I'm gonna let Krissy speak first, because she's done a lot of trailblazing for us. So Krissy, thanks.
Before I get started tonight, I just want to let you know how much I appreciate you allowing us to come and speak to you tonight. And I wanted to speak to you about the new law California has, commonly known as the 911 Good Samaritan Law. Getting this law passed in our state was something that I was very passionate about, because I lost my son Trey when he was only 24 to a heroin overdose on March 23rd of 2010. The person who had done the heroin with him lied to me about it at the time. So I feel I was robbed of the choice of getting him that medical help that I would have had I known. Before discussing the law, I'd like to give you some background information why we needed to pass this law here in California. For many communities, the extent of heroin addiction comes kind of as a shock, and I think it has in Santa Clarita too. For years, heroin's been considered an affliction of mainly poor urban neighborhoods, but now prescription opiates and heroin have become very popular in affluent suburbs, small cities, rural towns, among our very young. Many communities that never imagined they'd have an opiate or heroin problem now face a rising toll of addiction, overdoses, and death by overdose. At the end of 2012, Santa Clarita had 15 confirmed deaths by overdose. That was just for the year of 2012. And 4 more are suspected but waiting toxicology reports for confirmation. 2 more confirmations have come in, so we now have 17 total. This is a number that's increased every year since our Sheriff's Department started keeping track right after Trey died, so we're almost at the 3-year mark. At the last heroin symposium the city held, we had an ER doctor on the panel, and he said there had been 385 treated overdoses at our local hospital in the last year. Those are 380 that actually survived, 385 that survived. And before he came to speak with us that night, he had already treated 2 in the same day before he got there. Every 19 minutes, which as of yesterday was changed to every 15 minutes by the CDC, someone dies of an accidental drug overdose. In California, we have more accidental drug overdoses now than we have deaths by car crashes. And we also currently have more people being arrested for drugged driving than we do for driving under the influence of alcohol. California has become the 10th state to pass the new law, referred to as the 911 Good Samaritan Law, in order to save lives in our state. Over 80% of the heroin users inject with a partner, yet 80% of overdose victims are found by themselves when the paramedics arrive. Numerous studies have shown that individuals with the overdose sufferer will typically fail to call or get help for fear of getting arrested for drug possession. The 911 Good Samaritan Law became effective this past January 1st, and it encourages witnesses at the scene of a suspected drug or alcohol overdose to seek immediate emergency assistance without fear of prosecution for minor drug violations such as being under the influence, possession of small amounts of drugs, or paraphernalia. What many don't know is also the person that is overdosing could have also been arrested. And at this point, they're protected the same as someone reporting the overdose. An overdose death is a preventable death. And I truly believe a parent can't ever say that it'll never happen to my child, because I said that. Drugs do not discriminate, and addiction is not a moral failure. As parents, grandparents, healthcare providers, sheriff's deputies, community leaders, and educators, it's our duty to make sure the youth and young adults know about this law because they're so high at risk. I believe that if we all work together, we can stop the overdose deaths in the Santa Clarita that have been increasing every year. And I really do think that through awareness and education, along with getting rid of the stigma that's attached to this addiction, that we will be able to make a difference. And I have to say, I'm thankful to Kim because I only know of 4 parents out of those 15 last year alone that have even come out publicly to say this is what happened to their child. So I appreciate you letting me talk here tonight. I hope if you belong to some kind of group, church, youth group, I'm a grandma, go home, tell your grandkids about this law because you don't know. I lived in Valencia. I thought I had it all, and I never thought that I would face this. And we're coming up on 3 years now, and it never gets any easier. Thank you. Kim?
My name is Kim Keener, and I thank you for this, being able to speak on a fairly negative, but what I feel a just cause. 8 months after Krissy lost her son, my family, my husband, my son, and I woke up at 6 in the morning, which is pretty much our daily schedule, to find our son overdosed in our backyard. To this day, we don't know. We don't know if he was with somebody because nothing was found. Nothing was found on him. Nothing was found anywhere in our home. He had gone through the rehabs. We spent, our son started doing heroin about 6 months out of high school. And in 2.5 years, he lost his life to it. It was that fast. I have my strong beliefs on opiates and the destruction that they're bringing, right, to American society in general. But really, why I'm here is one, to support Krissy, because when I lost my son, the first thing that I actually did was, one, we were shocked that our child was doing this particular drug. We didn't think that could be possible in this valley. And when I lost him, the first thing that I did was try to find, what is the magnitude of this? How could this possibly have happened to us? We're local business owners. I have a retail brick and mortar business in Santa Clarita for 15 years. We specifically picked Santa Clarita to open our business. I can tell you personally, just on one hand, I know personally five business owners in this local valley whose children have been afflicted with heroin. May not have lost their children, but their children are struggling. These are local business owners. So I go into homes. Part of what I do is I go into our local community. I have been into thousands of homes. in the 15 years that I've lived here. And what I see is, and what I hear is there are many, thousands upon thousands of families that have been affected by this. So really why I'm here, what I would like to really be a part of is that everybody knows somebody. And I believe when you lose a child, when you lose a child, and especially to this type of loss, you're either going to not want to deal with it, like many parents, have done, or you could take on the responsibility of making a difference. And within that, I think the ideas, the thoughts that can be a part of making change happen, like Krissy. Krissy has been a very big part of the Good Samaritan Act passing here in California. And I believe that's because she faced it head on, and she went right into the community at just requesting information, and then that's what has come about it. So if anyone, Krissy and I, truly our mission is to make a difference. We've secured a couple website URLs, and one is Moms Moving Mountains, because that's what I truly feel that we're going to be a part of. So if you have any ideas and any thoughts, right, that could help us make change. I personally have taken on the responsibility of working and being kind of a liaison with businesses, with local businesses, because I believe our businesses here have been affected tremendously by this financially, on a financial level. I know personally I have, and I can name 5 businesses. I won't name those, because this is kind of a very intricate subject, and so a lot of privacy, people like privacy when it comes to this. But I'm just speaking from the heart. I didn't write anything out. I'm speaking from my heart to the community. So thank you for letting us be a part of it and share. Questions? Okay. We've never been asked questions, but go.
The high schools have every 15 minutes for drunk driving. There's I believe, a red ribbon Say No to Drugs that they even do down as far as the elementary schools. Have the schools out here ramped up anything against drug abuse?
Yes, they have. They have a new program that started this year. It's called the Defy It program. The city, the sheriff's department, educators went to Florida and picked this program from Florida because it has a very high success rate. What they're trying to do is getting groups of kids together who make the pledge that they're not going to do drugs. They also will submit to random drug testing and things like that, and then they will eventually get they will be mentors for some of the younger students. So that just started this year. I think we'll see a big effect next year on it. So that's what they have started doing now.
And that's a great question, because one of the first things also that I did when I got to a point where I could actually come out of that numbness phase, it took me about 3 months. But the first thing I started doing was I needed to know what really is happening here. And I started asking the kids questions. I wanted to see reality, not what I feel. There's a part of information that was truly held back. And I think if we would have known as parents what was ultimately happening, 8 months later, I lost my son, and I think we have probably 3 or 4 kids in between Trey, and my son, Kelsey. And then it became out of control the last 2 years. But it was out of control then. I started asking the kids, within their group of just interacting with each other, excluding themselves, how many kids in high school, basically the high school I was really targeting, how many kids do either engage in a mind-altering substance, I'm going to put it in a simple form, or actually are doing that? And the statistic, if you talk to kids, comes down to 90%. It's 90% of the kids. You'll get that figure every time you talk to them, that are either trying something or doing something. We all grew up, we've all gone through our phases and eras. But today, it's a completely different playing field. It's a completely different playing field. And opiates, I believe, are just gaining incredible momentum. So educating is absolutely what has to happen. And
I volunteer every Tuesday night to work with parents and teens at the Action Family Counseling. And our biggest problem is marijuana. Because the kids see there's no problem with it. It's legal. I can go get a medical card. I see parents fighting with this every week. And it actually starts with marijuana. I've never known anyone to just go say, let's go do heroin. It always starts with marijuana. So, that's it.
Or alcohol. Mm-hmm.
Anyone
else?
Yeah, I have, first a comment, then a question. I do look around this room and I see several parents that have lost a child. And so I want to thank you, because I know personally how difficult it is having lost a child to get up and try to make a difference. So thank you sincerely for that. I also work at a high school, and I take drugs off the campus kind of on a regular basis. And one of the things that I've recently become more, I don't know if it's a pet peeve of mine or something, we've imported a value structure into our community that I think comes from an inner city. We brought the terminology we call, somebody who would report drug use or assist in removing drugs from our community or our schools. We call them narcs, and I've even sat in with parents that have really sided with their kid, that no, the kid shouldn't be telling on anybody else that is putting our youth at danger. Do you have any thoughts on that phenomenon, and any thoughts on what we as a community can do to get the city of Santa Clarita to not have what I consider to be kind of an inner city mentality, where we will not defend ourselves from this drug onslaught?
I'm shocked at how many parents in this day and time actually get high with their kids. They see no problem with the marijuana. Or another big problem that my parents face are, again, parents that thinks it's okay, so all the kids can go to that house and get high or drink or whatever because they think that it's okay. And there is, kids are, I guess, always not going to want to tell on each other. But I would suggest to parents, you know what, suck it up. You're adults. Go say something, You know this is going on. Go say something to this other parent. I always tell my parents, check their cell phones. Check your kids' cell phones. If you see stuff on there, go to those parents. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I don't know why parents wouldn't say something, because I'm not that way. But we do. We have to speak up more. Our kids, You know, they should. Are they really going to? Probably not. So take that away from them and you do it. When you find out, you do it. And you also need to turn people into the sheriff's department. They're working very hard. You can do it anonymously. And we all have to work together in order to even try and curb what's going on.
And that's another thing that has changed a lot since we lost our kids, is actually the day that we discovered what drug our son was using. That was probably about 6 months after he had initially started using that drug. That moment, my husband and I, it shocked us. But that moment, we watched him, and his reaction to, once we did find out, his reaction to wanting that drug even more immediately, and I'm talking immediately, that evening, I went down to the sheriff's department myself. Being a local business owner, you solve problems. That's what this is about. It's solving this problem. And I went down and I said, I've got a cell phone. I've got my son's cell phone. I've got a list of phone numbers in here. I've already talked to all the kids that could tell me who would be dealing the drugs to him. And I've got a cell phone here and some information for you. And I need a set of handcuffs because my kid just wants this drug. I've got to, obviously that was a little bit over the top, but the reaction, so this is 2.5 years ago, or actually three years ago. The reaction was very standoffish. The cell phone was pushed back to me, and we basically, the reaction was, lady, anybody could tell me you were a drug dealer. So that has changed a lot. That has completely changed. The sheriffs take it a lot more seriously. I immediately started educating myself on sheriffing, on what sheriffing is versus policing. There's a completely different, we have a sheriffing system. They're trained to do things in a certain way, which is not detective type research. It's designed more, they're trained more to serve as jails. And then the streets are just part of their, so that has changed a lot. And, so yes, taking action and taking information, getting information in the hands of the sheriff's department is truly where I would, if I was, had some influence there, that's what would be happening. Because they are doing something, they're taking it seriously now, where it wasn't quite like that then. So. And
Well, let's give you guys a
Thank you.
We can do just a little bit. This is a very serious issue, and we can do a little bit. You know that every one of our presentations end up being bookended and put out on YouTube, and so I would ask all of you when the links come out to share them with your friends and neighbors, so they can also see this presentation, and possibly it can do some good over and above what it did here at this meeting. So thank you very much.